Hi, Wilford, JM, whoever. Welcome. Okay. Okay. Um, I'm the bee lady, and a lot of people, that I see in streams, I'm going to be looking at the chat just briefly. Uh, okay, that's me there. As you know, B Man's over there. He had surgery, but next week, folks, he's promised he's gonna be here. And so I'm having my fun now with lights and bells because I don't know if he's gonna sit here with this going on behind me. Um, so a lot of people have asked me about the slideshow and the wall, which the wall I'm a little bit, well, a lot behind on. And I want to clear that up now. Um, the wall comes from, well, there are a couple of friends there that we've known from ages on YouTube, and other than that, they are folks that are in our chats. I go through our chats randomly and find folks. So I've met so many new folks in this new week. So last week, through the night. So I'm going to be choosing those folks. And since Wilford JM Production, you'll be on there. Uh, there's Aaron Williams. Hey, Aaron Williams, a gamer. Folks, look at Aaron. I'm with you. Twitch. Don't neglect Twitch. Those I don't even know if Aaron is on Twitch. That place rocks. Those gamers are awesome, awesome, awesome supporters, awesome YouTubers. Okay. So that's where the wall comes from. So after this chat, to keep things current, I'll be going through the list. Aaron, you're already up there, so we don't have to do that. Yeah, you two can hit each other up. I know there's this whole 1K rush. I don't know what to call it. So y'all do what you got to do. I don't care. you know, whatever you got to use to know what you're doing, or I don't really care. I'm here to teach beekeeping, so you know that's not a problem for me. So that's the wall. Online, that slideshow, which I think I'm relatively up to line to work up to time with. I don't know. Sometimes my memory this time of night. Phew. Anyone that's seen me before knows that I have a really wild sense of humor. Okay, so on the online, that beautiful slideshow, which I love putting together, that's anyone and everyone who leaves a comment on one of our videos. I mean, I get some cute ones, and I still have to go back and address the comments. But what I do is I actually use my phone and I go through all the comments and I pull up, your channel, and I copy and take a picture in the whole 9 yards. And then I slide it in the slideshow. So I'll be doing that probably in the next couple of days. Okay. King George, hey, good to see you. Hit up the other guys. And, I don't know if you guys are at all interested in beekeeping. My husband and I and our two dogs, our kids, they left. They grew up. They went to college and they went south because they don't like the snow up here. It snows up here. It's ice up here. We live on a 19-acre farm, and way down there, if you go through some of our videos, you'll see we have currently 27 beehives. Any given day we can go down there and see one less. B-Man, you'll see him in the chat. He's signed in as the bee lady. Any questions you have, he'll be moderating and everything else. And like I said, he'll be back next week as far as in the chat with me. He usually is, but he had some surgery, so he's been sitting it out. This week, good, King George. We've been going right along in our series, and this is a duplicate series from what we did last fall. And I know this is kind of dry for folks that are here. So I try to get through this, the first hour. We're here for an hour. And so that we can sit around and chat. The next 20 minutes go on and give a shout out. But there's just no time for that because, everybody's live. And me, I like to support channels. So I'm literally, my husband could tell you, I'm up pretty much around the clock. And I'm loving it. Even the gamers, I go in there and I know some of those games. And there's a running joke that I have a, gee, I play it. I don't know what it is. I have a Wii and I have a, honey, do you know what that thing is? I have Xbox. Xbox. I understand I need a new one. But anyway, hi, good to see you. You guys hit each other up if you don't have each other, okay? We gotta make this work with YouTube. I have an Xbox, and I'm there, and I'm in front of the TV, and it says, I'm practicing games, and it says, do you want to? Well, you know what it says. You want to go play with somebody? I'm like, yeah, take me out there. And our son, oh, the gamer. Mom, don't go out there in public. You're gonna embarrass us. Make sure they don't know who you are. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that, Aaron? Mm. So I put some weird name, made some weird character, and went out there and lasted about 20 seconds. I mean, I got up to some good time though. But I love games. I love them. I watched Fortnite, and I'm being a little random here before I get to the B stuff. For a long time, I watched our son-in-law play it. He didn't do too good with it. And I thought, maybe I'll wait for something else to come out. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so tonight we're going to do how to inspect your beehive. Okay, we talked about, and if you have questions while I'm talking away, put them in the chat, and my husband will answer them. Okay, so we got kind of two things going here, because I don't want you to sit there and go, I got to wait for her to be quiet, look at the chat before I can ask a question. He will answer anything. He literally will. I'm not going to say he's more knowledgeable. Well, I don't know if he's more knowledgeable. We're both knowledgeable in our own rights. We each focus on different areas of the bees. That's beekeeping, which is why it's good to have two people. Okay, go out there. I call the bee lady honey. That's fine. You call me whatever you want. He knows on YouTube it's like, hey honey, hey whatever. Okay, so how to inspect your beehives. We spoke about what kind of bees to get, and we went over you can get packaged bees, a nuke, which is what we've gotten, or you can catch a swarm. We talked about where you're going to put your bee yard, like where you're going to put your hives, so that you don't upset people. We're in an area, our area is zoned residential agricultural, actually agricultural residential. So, a lot of folks out here have something, and they still kind of hold to how much land you have. For a horse, there's 5 acres. For a chicken, I think it's 2. If you want a rooster, it's more. Don't ask me why. Things like that. Okay? You can give me a thumbs up. Okay, so moving on. Oh, yeah, well, you need to go to our website, whoever you are, pesticide, whatever. Yeah, and if you're not supporting the bee lady here, you can just link me up here. These are going on our website. Whoa, thebeeladyapiary.com. I think there's only 2 up there now. I'm working on it, folks. I'm in this flurry of activity with everybody else to get out there and meet new people. And that's pretty much what I've been doing. Okay, so you've got your bees. You figured out what kind. You figured out what kind of hive you're going to use. Top bar, we talked about those. Langstrom, we talked about those. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Where you're going to put it and everything. So you've got your bees, we put them in there. I skipped installing your bees because I figured logical people, wherever you get them from, unless you get a swarm, you're going to be like on your own. You're going to find out kind of how to put them in. And if you go to our channel, there's a video of us putting in the last of our 27 nukes. We had anticipated maybe the 6th year, or I think that's where we are. We would go big after we had done it for several years and gone through the winter. Getting through the winter is a tough thing. We lost 6 beehives last winter. Also gotten swarms. Okay, so moving around. So anybody out there that's watching this afterwards, if you have bees, I can do these without my glasses. You should inspect your beehives on a regular basis. For beginners, every 7 to 10 days during the spring and summer should be often if you inspect your hives. Don't forget, any questions about anything, I know, is it King George? Whoever. Okay. Who's that? North Carolina? Hi, welcome. Off grid. Okay. North Country. Okay. Any question at all, ask B Man. He's next door. He'll be here next week, but he's there. Any question at all. We both, not bragging, but we both come from strong educational backgrounds, and we went into this from the educational point of view, which means we know what? Nothing. You ain't gonna learn this in books, folks. I'm here to tell you. Not veering off of my subject, but I want to reiterate, you're going to learn some stuff in the books and the videos, but you're not going to learn everything. You're not going to learn half. You're not going to learn a lot. And if you think you are, you're not. You're only going to learn. This is one of those things like riding a bike. You have to do it, because what happens in your hive is not going to happen in anybody else's, because your environment is different. The bees respond to humidity. They respond to, I think it's air pressure, dear. I know when there's going to be a thunderstorm and the pressure drops or something, they go nuts. It's not because they can sense the pressure. It just disturbs them. They're going to have a different environment as far as what they're going to be able to forage on, and that is going to affect your bees. You know, a lot of people don't think that trees have pollen. They do. So they're going to, it just depends. No two beehives are alike in your bee yard, and no two beekeepers are going to do the same thing. You know, the old joke is ask 7 beekeepers a question, you're going to get 10 answers. Okay, so 7 to 10 days. If you inspect your hives more than this, you may find that your bees will not be happy. Keep in mind that each time you inspect your hive, you are disrupting your beehive's activity and setting them back a day. Okay, remember that. And King George, getting back to you real quick, you had brought up African bees. I think it was you in a chat. We don't worry about them too much here in the north because they really need a warm climate, unless they've been morphed, like they're a hybrid of another bee, but still they like that warm climate, and they came into being because they produce more honey. Well, whoopee, they're not good to have around either. Okay, so anyway, before you begin, be sure you have assimilated your smoker, your hive tool, and if you will be refilling feeders during your inspection, have jugs of the sugar water you will need to do this with. After suiting up, it is good to have your smoker lit and pumping out nice cool smoke for the bees. Me, I like a lot of smoke. Bee Man, he likes a little bit of smoke. Both ways are correct depending on the beekeeper. We start with the twine, no chemicals or none of that stuff in it. Bee Man, you can put in there what you put in the smoker. We put the twine in. In fact, I started it up the other day. We were going down to take off the mouse guards, and it started raining, so we had to zip back. But I also like to get the little pellets, and if you can make little pellets or have something like that, so I can drop them down like the funnel end of the smoker, and it gives you a nice smoke, to if they like fast, in case they start acting up. Okay, but you want to have all this stuff ready. You don't want to have to go looking for something. We tend to, because we are kind of not really a big bee yard, but to us it is. I now have fluorescent orange paint that I'm going to paint our hive tools with, because I can't tell you how often it's like, where's the hive tool? Where's the hive tool? We just like misplace things. Once ready to open your hive, first smoke in the front near the entrance. So if this is your hive, your entrance is down here. You remember we spoke last week about you don't ever want to step in front of the entrance. Okay? Never. You don't want to do that. So you're going to smoke from the side. You want to smoke in the entrance. Won't bother you that much. Okay? Some folks use sugar water. We also take sugar water down. Okay. You want to calm the guard bees. Remember, they're at the entrance. Okay? Those are the ones you really want to get calm. Then crack the outer cover and smoke a few puffs or smoke underneath it. Lay the cover back down gently and wait about a minute for the smoke to take effect. Your outer cover, if you're using the traditional Langstroth hive, is going to be silver. Okay? Unless you've made your hive, which I wish we could, and you're going to lift it up, and inside that cover, you're going to have the traditional wood cover. This may not be a really good picture, but it's the wood cover. It has like a rectangular hole in the middle. You're going to open that and smoke down in there, okay? And usually when your bees are getting really active, when you open the shiny cover on top, they're going to be up there. I don't know what they're doing up there, but they're going to be up there, okay? That's a good place to get them, because you've got to take that off, and that your bees are 9 times out of 10. In fact, I would say if you don't see any bees up there, it's like, uh-oh, okay. And then put some smoke in there, lay it back down gently, and wait about a minute or so for the smoke to take effect. Then you're going to remove the outer cover, which is this outer cover with the silver top, okay? After waiting for the smoke to calm your bees down a bit, remove the outer cover and carefully set it on the ground upside down. I forgot why upside down, but it's upside down. Usually, well, one reason is there are usually bees in there. Okay, sometimes there's propolis and or honey. Well, not propolis, like wax in there. You may have to clean that out. You can find anything inside that cover. You may find wax moths. You may find anything, but you want to make sure that that's cleaned out. Okay. Now you can puff some smoke into the hole. Well, we kind of do this all at once. The inner cover. Wait a minute or two for your bees to calm down. And some days, folks, you can wait, and they're just not going to calm down. You got to go with the flow. You got to do the best that you can. After you have taken the outer cover and you have puffed some smoke, take off the inner cover. A good place to keep this is a pocket in your bee suit. You'll be using your hive tool. Every bee suit, okay, has a pocket for your hive tool. Okay, you'll be using your bee tool more often than not to get that inner cover off, because it might be sealed. Remember, bees seal up everything. Every little micro space, they start sealing it. All right, and you have to literally break it open. So that's another reason, they're sealing it, you're breaking it open, and they're going, here we go again. Okay, so they're not really happy. Remember, all movements, and I have this in bold print down here. Okay, all movements while inspecting your beehive should be done gently. Believe it or not, my husband is a way more gentle beekeeper than I am. I'm not rough and rowdy. However, he has his brush, and he doesn't. I mean, he nobody gets killed, and I'm blowing them and brushing them and everything else. Those brushes, we have one, we use it. Jury's out on those. You can use a feather, but we have the brush and we do use it. I'll just leave it at that. There are more, we just have the basic bee brush. You can, brush them real lightly with your glove, but, that's another thing. The gloves, I believe we're going into nitrile. 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 I think it's nitrile. I always say nitrile, whatever. There's something about the leather with the bees, and I don't know what. But I have leather gloves also, because I'm not sure they're not going to get through this night, whatever it is. And plus, this stuff sweats. So I probably will go back to my regular bee things. Anyway, gloves. If you see wax or propolis on the inner cover, use your hive tool to scrape it off. It is wise to have a place in your bee yard where you will be piling this up. You may choose to collect the wax or propolis in a jar for your future use. What we know, honey out or whatever, and take it back inside. Set the inner cover on top of the outer cover on the ground. Be careful not to crush any bees. Okay. So, if you only have 2 hives, all of a sudden you're gonna have a lot of things sitting on the ground. Okay, so that's why I said you have to have some space between your hives. All right. So next thing, after you take the inner cover off, you should come to a super, or if you're just starting and you're going deep, you'll come to the first deep. We're going deep super. We began with the deep. We don't want to pick up that much weight. I don't recall the weight, 60 pounds, some astronomical amount. I can tell you because it takes, well, not two of us, but if I'm working alone, we usually spread out. I'll say, hey, this is heavy, it gets really heavy. Okay. So you're going to remove the super or your deep. If you have a honey super on your hive, pry it off using your hive tool and then set it on top of the inner cover. So you're going to pick that up and put it on the inside of your inner cover on the ground. Some people will use those things that you saw on, I believe they're sawhorses, and set it on there strictly for convenience as opposed to setting them on the ground. That's strictly up to you. It may help you if you have some type of a stand to place your super on. We use a sawhorse. These people use a sawhorse, meaning we do also. You can get into a lot of expense with beekeeping. We don't agree with that road. We use things that we have around the farm for something else. We're like, well, we're going to use that for the bees. We're going to use that for the bees. We're going to use that for the bees. Okay. On that note, you can buy shims for the winter, which goes at the top to so you get better ventilation. My husband cut them out of the ones we had and made them shims, things like that. So provided you're at the bottom box now, you're at the deep hive box. Okay, gotta smoke that into the deep, which should be your first deep, because they're assuming deep super. If you have used medium boxes instead of 2 deeps, you just repeat this process twice until you get to the bottom. You will always start your inspections with the last box. So if you've got 3 boxes, you take off box number 1, you take off box number 2, and you start with the last one. Trust me, we've done it all kinds of ways, and we've had we like, oh my goodness, and you have to start with that last box. Okay. So remember, you're going to start with the bottom box. So you're going to remove the second deep. Gently remove the second deep and place it on top of the super or inner cover. So what this does is it gives that super some protection because you're putting the deep on top. So the bees down in the super feel kind of secure. They're kind of secure in there. And for those of you that are using supers as part of your hive and you're wondering, oh, gee, will the queen lay in the super? Sure she will. Our queen lays all over. We no longer use queen excluders. We tried that. There's pros and cons. Some people love them. Some people don't. I don't know. I think ours baked in the sun, but then our bee yard is out in the sun. But I don't know. It's up to what's going to work where you are. So you're going to gently remove it and move it on top of the inner cover. Take a break. Everybody here. Hi, everybody. Yeah, that's right. See, he's getting into the Earth's magnetic field. I'm telling you, he's like I said, he knows all, we know different things. So, hi, everybody coming in, smash that like button. And welcome to the chat. And I know a lot of people aren't that interested in bees, but we got to roll with this because a lot of people come back and they really, they go to bee channels because it's this time of the year and they're new and they're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Okay, so you've got your bottom box. You've smoked the bees. You're going to go with the first frame. Okay, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you've got your first frame. You're going to take out your first frame. Folks, I don't care if you have to get one of those permanent option, and if if you're new and you're a little nervous around the bees, which, one thing I stressed last year during the series was you're going to have confidence in something. You've got to have confidence in your bee suit and your hat, your veil. You've got to understand that that's there to protect you. Rare occasion, something's going to get in and sting you a little bit, but you have to have confidence. You can't, they're going to be on you. They're going to be here. They're going to be on your feet. They're going to be all over. Just, oh dear, there's a bee here, get it out. Sometimes they're going, I don't know how they get in mine, but they're on the inside of your, the netting on your veil. You just have to get it up and walk outside there and get it out. I mean, you can't, you shouldn't panic. So if you think you're going to panic, it's good to have somebody with you that isn't going to panic, because panic doesn't help you in a bee yard. And that's why I said you've got to have confidence in your suit. You may not have a lot of confidence in yourself. You may not have a lot of confidence in what you're doing, but you've got to have confidence in your suit. Okay? So you're taking out the first frame and set it either in a frame holder or on top of the other hive boxes or the inner cover, taking care not to smash any bees as you do so. So now you're going to start, and you use your hive tool. I wish I had one in here. I took mine outside. I should have brought it in. I'll have it next week. It's got this little curly thing. You're probably going to have to pry it open. You put in the flat part and move it back very gently and lift up the frame. Okay, now you're going to be looking at this frame. You're inspecting it. Okay, you're looking for, in the whole 10, you're looking for brood, capped and uncapped larvae and eggs somewhere in that hive. Somewhere. If you don't see it in the first box, you don't see it in the second box, it's okay. Really, because the egg is going to be a little piece of rice. Let me see. This is why I think we should have a slideshow like we did last year. Oh, that's not an egg. Okay, that's an egg. If you see those little specks of rice inside a cell like this, that tells you the queen has been there within the past 3 days. From the time she lays it, 3 days out, it's a little seed. It's an egg. Okay. I think, let me find a good one you can see. I think if you really look close, you can see they look almost like little worms. That's larva. Okay? That's 9 days out. Okay? The egg goes to a larva state from day 3 to day 9. Okay? Then, day 9, the worker bees start sealing it so it can develop into a bee. Ideally, you should see eggs, which I don't recall ever seeing eggs, just larvae. Larva and capped brood. The thing you're going to I don't know. The thing you're going to probably see the most is capped brood. All right. And when you look at your capped brood, it should be in a nice laying pattern. A viable queen, meaning a queen that's top health. She's good to go. I really should bring more pictures. If this is your frame, it should be like all, it should be filled in. All capped brood. Okay. If it's spotty, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, your queen, that's the first indication that a queen is not really failing, but she's old, she's not up to par. And usually along with that, you'll see queen cells. Well, actually, supersedure cells. Queen cells you'll see when they're getting ready to swarm. Supersedure cells are the cells that they make when they say, okay, our queen has had it. She's not doing what we want her to do. So we have to get them. I see them. They're right on the frame. Honey, can you back me up on that or tell me I'm a no on that? The supersedure for the queen are right on the frame. Oh, he's in there typing away. Did you hear me? He heard me. He'll answer. And then at the bottom of the frame, if this is your frame hanging off, are your queen cells. That means that they're going to swarm. And you need to stop it. Or, if you're more adventurous, you can do something to split that hive and have a hive make a queen. I'm not quite sure about the steps in that. My husband has successfully split a hive, joined a hive, and solved, well, at least once, figured out laying workers. which I take my hat off to them. I'm just up here. We need to order another queen or catch a swarm or do something, or split up that hive into all the other hives. That's my answer for laying workers, because we had tried so many times before. But he likes to have a nuke or two down there going, and he's if you see me in some of the longer live streams, I would point it out. There's one of my husband's experiments over there. He's got a nuke going, which is five frames with a queen and worker bees. And by golly, he's got that down to a science. So anyway, that's what you're looking for in there. Somewhere in that hive, you have to see brood that's all laid, in a nice pattern. The queen's great, good to go. You want to see some honey. You want to see, bee bread, which, pollen. You want to see a lot of pollen. You can tell, okay? Jury's out about the drone brood. I don't know. If you get a queen that's fertilized, I don't know. I personally don't care for drones, but that's just me. Because all they do is fertilize the queen and eat. And in fact, in the fall, the workers throw them out because all they're going to do is eat through the winter, and they can't have that. So anyway, getting back on topic here. If cardinals, here's a famous sign here. If you have more than one egg, remember the little grains of rice, you go, oh, we got eggs. But if you have more than one in a cell, you've got laying workers. Okay? Because what happens is they don't have a queen, okay? And they go, oh my goodness, we don't have a queen. And remember, they're bred for survival. So what happens are the females or the worker bees are females, okay? And so they have ovaries. And so what happens is, I don't know what kind of change it is, but their ovaries literally change and they start laying eggs. Oh, we've got to save the hive. We have to lay eggs. Fine and dandy, but they can only lay drone eggs. Only fertilized eggs laid by a queen can be worker bees. So you're just going to have drone, 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 drone. And to the new beekeeper, sometime they can't tell the difference between worker brood and drone brood. And they're going to go, oh, this is great. We have tons of brood. They don't see any eggs. They don't see any larvae. Okay? So that's why it's very important to know what you're seeing. Something else you might want to do if you're a little, you're not sure about it, take a picture. I tell people, you can't just say, hello, and ask a question about your beehive. Take a picture. You have to send a picture to another beekeeper so that they can see what you're talking about, visually, because you can explain it and they won't know that. And another thing is something I spoke about a few weeks ago, know the terminology so you can say, oh, well, I think this is happening, or I think that is happening. You have to have the terms, because it's kind of like speech language pathology. If anybody here is familiar with that, you have to know the terms, or anything else you do in life. You need the terms of what you're doing so that what's what. They're going to know what you're talking about. The best going back and forth like this very gently. If necessary, use reading glasses or a magnifying glass. I took a magnifying glass out there. Because I still can't find the queen. I know we have her. I know we have the queen, because I can see, the larva and the eggs, but I can't find her. There she is. I can't find her. I mean, if it's a queen that, came with a nuke or something, they will have the color of the year, like a dot on their head that does not come off. Like one year it's yellow, one year it's blue. And that's kind of good. But if not, I don't know where she is. So we're gonna have your magnifying glass. Okay. Replacing the frames. Now, Some new beekeepers will say, well, I don't see any mites. We don't have a lot of mites. No, every beehive in this country has mites, period. It's the number of mites, okay? And remember, we spoke about the two tests for seeing how many mites you have. One is the confectionery sugar, aka powdered sugar test. One is the alcohol test, which is more accurate, but you're going to kill some bees. I'll actually show you some of those as time goes on. And I'll actually, well, if it stops raining anytime soon, we were going to film down there, go live down there, taking off the mouse guards, because I don't know if you all know what mouse guards look like. It's metal like this, and it goes across the front at the bottom where the entrance is, and it has little tiny holes. And the little tiny holes in front of the entrance are where the bees come in and out. And a mouse can't get in there. We've had mice get in our beehives in the winter. The problem with that now is, with my husband, being under the weather and everything, the bees are bringing in pollen, and they can't get through. A lot of it can't get through the mouse guards. So there's pollen all over the hive. They can take some in, but they're not taking that much that they should be, and I feel sorry for them, but I don't know. You do what you can do. So you're inspecting your frames in order. You're putting them back in there in order. Let's see. So now you're gonna after you get all done with that, and you haven't seen anything suspicious, probably you'll know if you see something suspicious. You just go online, go on a video or something, and look at what's normal. If you see something abnormal in there, you're gonna know I got a problem. Okay, probably the expert is the Fat Man's Beekeeper, whatever it is. I've watched him tons of times, and his name is in our description. Okay. And another good place is Honeybee Suite. That's honeybee and then SUITE.com. Or, you can Google Honeybee Suite. All right. So now you've gone through the bottom. You take the next deep or super, whatever the case may be, and set it on top, because you're going to work with that one. Okay? But getting back to the first one, everything's going to be nice and even, and, make sure your bees are happy. I don't know. You got everything in there, and then you put your second box up on top. And you're going to go through the same thing. Okay? And you do it all throughout your box. There are some beekeepers that will tell you, I can just, in fact, our mentor, when we joined one of our bee clubs, we had a mentor for the first year. He says, he can just open up his hives and tell if it's okay by looking. Okay. He had upwards of 100 hives. These people have beehives all over, and, some of it's pretty competitive because, at the state fair, they have their honey. And they're are they going to win a prize for their honey? And some of it's very, very clear, almost like totally transparent. This land for their beehives. They will not tell you where it is. They're not secretive about their honey because they've won first prize so many times. I don't know. Avid beekeepers, here they are putting everything back. Okay. And then you're going to put back your inner cover, down here at the bottom. You're sliding back in your that's your inner cover with the hole on top. And replace the outer cover. Record your observations. That's a good thing about YouTube. And even if you don't want to go live on YouTube, you can have your own personal video. Okay, and so what you did. If you have like a lot of hives, you can take a picture and go, gee, look at that, Or you can get yourself a composition notebook, whatever it takes. It's a good idea to write down what you did, what you saw, how the bees were. Well, it's amazing because sometimes you'll get bees from the same brooder. Okay, he'll sell you 2 supers, 3 supers, or whatever, and which indicates they came from the same area. Maybe not necessarily the same queen. And all of a sudden, they're really totally different. Each hive. So you're going, and you want to know, well, that hive is normally rambunctious, and this hive is very easygoing. And my husband and I take that to note. He'll say, well, I'll take hive number 3 because they're kind of rowdy down there, and you can take hive number 2 because they're very soft and gentle. And typically, I mean, really, that's pretty much how it is. So then after you get everything put away, relax. You've done your inspection, but they reiterate at the bottom, and it's not just they, like I said, we put in our own information. We got information from trusted sites like Honeybee Suite and whatnot. So they say over and over again, you must write something down about what happened, and especially the dates. You'll forget. I don't know. Back then, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Well, but when I put the hives over there, this didn't work. How are the questions going? Let's see. Anybody? I'll jump in and help to answer some questions. Welcome, everybody. Max Point, David's, anybody else here? Are there any questions about Beehive Fairy Tale creations? Please give me a thumbs up. What was I going to say? Oh, well. Are there any questions that, anybody has about... Oh, yes, I will. I will, Malo. I will come right up. I'll be there. I'm like 90%. Let me see if I'm supporting you. Hey, I'm supporting you now. Milo, BERTHOO. You can support me right below. Click that little blah blah. Click that little red subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I'll be over there. Oh yeah, I'll be right over there. I'm up night and day. Okay, yes, I will visit your channel. Sherry! Oh my goodness, Sherry's weight loss. Yeah, great guy. A great guy. Great girl. Great girl. When I see weight loss or exercise, it's like, oh no, been there, did that, time and time again. Okay, we have some time. We have about 10 minutes. Any questions about beekeeping? Any reservations about beekeeping? Any questions about how we do it? Any questions about wintertime, or our bees are still wrapped up down there? We haven't taken off any of the protection or insulation. It's just there is the one of Live in the Bee Yard where we're checking for foods. Before we went on a trip, we checked because some of them were at the top. We pack in frames of honey, their honey, because we're taking the honey off in the summer during honey flows. Most of the frames, or a good number of the frames, we're socking it away in the freezer, okay, for them. And a lot of, some of it we take. But because these were new last year, we put a lot in the freezer and then they grew and grew and grew. And so that this year, or last fall, we had a lot to put in their frames. And then we put bee patties, which looks something like Play-Doh. And those had all kinds of nutrition and whatnot in it. And then at the very top, on top, you put newspaper, and then you put literally plain cane sugar. The sugar you use every day, white sugar. Granulated sugar, which is now GMO free. We get ours from Walmart, mail ordered. You have to watch the prices. Every now and then they have a price, and they have a sale, and we buy it then. Otherwise, we buy ours in 25-pound bags, and sugar went up But if you watch the sales, you know, not Domino, I can't think of the name. It's in a blue and white bag. You can get a good sale. Okay, that's how we get ours. Let's see. When you find it in a house, whoa, David's in a house. There are some. Big Bear Homestead. He's in our description as a recommended beekeeper to go to. He had a trapping business, and he's still an avid trapper, and everybody goes to him. If you got a question about how to catch something, that's where you want to go, to their channel. Um, he had a business where he went into homes. They were taking hives out of floors, replacing the floors, out of walls, out of roofs, you know, and that you take down the wall and there's just honey dripping everywhere. Bees, you know, when you see a cluster of bees, they're on a time schedule. All right. They leave one hive and they cluster more than not in a tree. All right. Yeah, sometimes a lot of other places, but usually in a tree. All right. And then and in there, in the middle of that cluster is oh, I don't want this up there. In the middle of the cluster is the queen. Okay, she's in the middle, and everybody around her, what they've done before they leave the beehive and take off on this journey, they've eaten until they can't eat anymore, so they're full of honey. And the scout bees take off and look for a place for everybody to go. Well, the longer they're there, all right, and they're buzzing and using all this energy, they get hungrier and hungrier, because even if they go out to eat, they don't have anywhere to make that into honey. They can't make it into honey in the clear blues, in, you know, in the air. You know, I don't think. Yeah, they're on a time schedule. I want to say, is it 3 to 10 days for that? Can't get back in. Uh, yeah. Oh, thank you. How do you handle hive? Yeah, so that's the question about the house. So that's how they get in there. 9 times out of 10. Usually 10 times out of 10, because going to a house is not their preference. But if everybody's getting hungry and their queen's going to die, remember, before they leave the hive, the queen is big, you know, bigger than the other bees. They'll say, well, how do you know who the queen is? Well, she's bigger. That's how you know. So they start walking her. They get behind her and they keep her walking and walking around the hive until she works off some of that weight. Okay? So that she can get out of the hive. Because the way she is, she can't get out of the hive, or she can get out of the hive, but she can't fly. She's too big to fly. Okay? Where they're going. So they do that so she can go along with the crew. Gotta have a queen. Can't take off without the queen. So she's in the middle. She's hungry. Okay. Now they're in there feeding her, but she's hungry. You know, they know, oh my goodness, our queen, everything. So the scout bees out there, they're on a time schedule. So they do the best they can do. And they'll usually go in a house, go someplace. What is it they say? And one good way to get bees, if you, how can I say? If you're thinking of becoming a beekeeper and you believe that you have the gumption, the wherewithal to go get yourself a swarm, we at the Bee Lady Apiary do not recommend it. But hey, if you think you can go get one and you get your equipment secondhand, if you're handy with wood, build your equipment. Top bar hives may be less expensive. I really don't know, but the jury's out on those, because you literally have to tear apart your hive to get the wax out, and then the bees have to start all over. But one of the best ways to get a swarm, well, there's two ways. One is to build a swarm trap, or to buy a swarm trap, to have a swarm trap. And I want to touch on something about the queen too. All right, I better write that down. I'll forget it. Okay. Get yourself a swarm trap or build one and put it up in a tree or someplace and put, I think it's lemongrass in there. And hopefully, or you can maybe get some old wax from a beekeeper. Bees may come over there and make it a home. You got your swarm. That's something that Big Bear Homestead does. He makes those swarm traps. He's going to be selling those swarm traps. And he has videos that he put out swarm traps this year. And there are bees in there like a week later. No special time of year. Well, spring through fall. They're always swarming. If the hive's not big enough, they take off. And a lot of new beekeepers, they make the mistake. You've got 10 frames, okay? Bees work up the chimney. Think the chimney effect. That's what bees do. They go, well, they got a frame on this side that's empty. They got a frame on this side that's empty. I'll give them another 2 weeks to fill those frames up. They're going to leave because if they're not going to go out. They're not going to work out. They're going to work up, okay? So sometimes they'll go to the extra frame, but you really shouldn't chance it. You should put another box on because they're moving. They can build an amazing amount in one day. There are approximately in a beehive, a good-sized bee, well, not even a big beehive, 50,000 bees. And I want to get to that too, Texas. Back to the queen bee. If you think you need your queen is gone, Better Bee, like Better Bee Supplies. They're the only people I know that have it. I'm sure now you can get it through someone else. They have something called bee pheromone. That's how they know the queen's gone, because she puts out a scent that nobody else does. I'm going to get something here. It's like, I want to say, it looks like, it's about like this. Okay. It literally looks like a piece of yarn, and I'm in my craft room. That's why I happen to have yarn handy. Okay, like that. And it's bee pheromone, and you tack it, you open your frame, you tack it inside, and it just hangs there inside one of the frames, and they think, oh, we got a queen, we're good to go. They don't lay anything, and they just go humming along. You have to do something. You have to buy a queen, you have to get a queen from somebody, you have to you have to go to another hive and get a queen cell, or you got to do something. I'm not quite sure of all the things you can do. Not 100%. You're going to have to look it up. You're going to have to call someone. You're going to call B-Man. And tell you what to do. And a lot of people don't want to go out there and drop $30 for a queen. I don't blame them. They'll get the queen to you in 2 days overnight. Really, most of the people that you can get a queen from, Better Bee is one of the places. But, with any creativity, you can get yourself a queen. Okay, I mean, something. B-Man, are you answering these questions? Where is he saying? The SS fam, welcome. Okay, thank you, SS fam. Hello, Bella Allure. So you can get yourselves a queen. Yeah. So much for the queen bee. Back to Texas. Anybody see what happened in Texas? Pretty sure it was Texas. I don't know how many hives, but 500,000 bees were killed down there. Somebody went into a bee farm and took just took them apart and threw them in the pond that was right there. They had to use gasoline. They torched them. I think it was 500,000 bees. Maybe half. You can Google Houston bees. Unfortunately, there can be a lot of vandalism in bee yards. I don't know what's wrong with people. I don't know. They just wipe them out. That's a lot of money. People will say, well, we'll get our honey someplace else. Well, you know what? Each one of those hives to start out is $100. So let me see here. To get to 500,000 bees, I don't know how much money that is. I'm sure like most beekeepers, they had swarms. They had, they split hives. That's a good way to get split them, things like that. Or you can, if you want to go to a bigger beekeeper and say, gee, can you split a hive? And they'll maybe get, split a hive for you for a couple of bucks or something. A friend of mine, she allows a beekeeper, they have like 40 acres or some insane amount of land. She allows a beekeeper to come and put his hives on her land. And in return, she gets a lot of honey. us, we had planned to be beekeepers. Well, I was actually praying one day and God said, get bees. I went, okay. So I went to my husband, hey, guess what? I mean, literally, this is true. Y'all can believe it or not. We're going to get bees. It's like, why? Why? I was praying and God said, get fine. We got the bees. But it was funny because in one of our apple trees, before, we were studying and everything before we got the bees, there was a swarm. I went out and says, oh my God, there's a swarm there. Now, of course, we weren't prepared at all to keep the bees. And we did find a lady. She came out and she put them in a bee box. And she says, oh, they're way too little to go through the winter. And she says, I'm going to put them right here. You can watch them. And she put them in the bee box. And we sat there. We watched them go in and out and everything. And take it for what it's worth. I took that as a sign. Oh yeah, we're getting the bees, because it was. I just felt so bad when they were taken. Oh, my bees are gone. And knowing what I know now about bees and the size of the hive that it has to be to get through the winter, they wouldn't have made it. They would have been wiped out. But I said, what are you going to do with them? She says, I'm going to merge them with another hive. I went, oh no. But now I understand that was the best thing to do. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, it's 8 o'clock. Of course, I wouldn't know if there are any other questions. Let me see here. It's 8 o'clock. Hey, Searching Sabrina, good to see you. And everybody else that came by. Glad you're here. Remember, if you have any further questions, drop them in our comments. I promise you, comments are the most active thing because that's where we put our slideshow up. And so I'm going through the comments. Unfortunately, I don't take the time to put the little heart and give a response, but I'm going to get there, folks. I'm going to get there. I'm, like I said earlier, I'm literally going through comments and adding onto the slideshow, which I absolutely love doing. I just love doing it. And I'm going to go through all of you. Y'all will be up on the wall. The wall are people in our chats and our streams that I randomly picked. But this is such a special night. I think I'll put everybody up there. So I'm going to say goodbye now. And thank you all for coming. Remember, we're here every Wednesday from 7 until 8. Bring your questions. I'm not sure what we're going to go over next week. It'll be something, Sorry it's such a dry chat compared to, the others I've been in, which are more lively. But, it is about bees. And, we like to, sometimes we'll just sit here together and answer questions. Maybe we'll do that next week. And the other thing is, keep a lookout because when we go to the bee yard to do work, we take you with us. And so that'll be usually in the mornings because you don't go to the bee yard at night. No, not after night. Okay? So keep a lookout for that too because we're hoping to get down tomorrow or the next day to continue with the mouse guards. Okay? Thank you everyone for coming and support everyone on YouTube. And don't be an unsupporter. Show the love, spread the love. If you don't know, the Chills. Linda with a Lynda, House of Chills. Starting there, I want to say around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, going all through the day, ending with Farmall Fanatics. That's FARMWELL, Farmwell Fanatics. He ends it off, I think, around 9 or so. And then at 10, it goes to RK Adventures. She kind of calms everything down. She has this beautiful picture of a lake, a pond in the back. It's just a very relaxing stream. Okay? So that's where you want to be Fridays if you want to, get your channel rolling. Okay? Hope that helps. And that's it for the bee lady. And until then, keep buzzing. Bye.